What's up, people? Jay here along with Cass to review this latest episode of Monday Night Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania. Now, Dalton, the third part of this trio here, he tapped out for the night. We have been going hard
all
this
day,
weekend.
all night.
All day, all night, all friggin' weekend. He was like, you know what? I'm going to have to sit this one out, so it's just going to be me and Cass for this one, and we have a lot to discuss on this episode of Raw because the show started off with Roman Reigns and the crowd. They did air out their grievances. They were all over that dude. I think I heard a "fuck you Roman" chant. They told him how much he sucked. They were chanting for the Undertaker against Roman, letting him know exactly what it was that they thought about him and him retiring. What it seems like right now, the Undertaker at WrestleMania. It's interesting that WWE has not officially said that yet. When I went onto their website, it had the question mark at the end of that statement, and then Michael Cole was talking about on the show if this was the Undertaker's last ride. And it's so funny, he's like, oh, headlines are out there and people are saying that this may be Undertaker's last ride. Well, wouldn't you know better than anybody? Like, give us a scoop, Mr. Investigative Journalist. Wasn't he like a war correspondent or something? Find out them facts. Go do some reporting. Let us know what's going on. But yeah, everybody, that's what's been established. Like, yeah, that was the Undertaker's last match. Roman Reigns, he comes out to the ring for, a great deal of time, just taking in everything that was going on with the crowd. And what I loved about that segment, it wasn't even a smile, it was a smirk. And that made it even worse. The fact that he was smirking, just knowing that, oh, this is going to piss people off. And it surely did. And I love how he put his mic up to his mouth and they booed him even more. And finally he said, "This is my yard now." Walked out. Boom. I loved it.
I'm so surprised that nobody on Twitter was going up. Is he finally turned heel?
They were doing that.
Is this the heel turn they made?
There were people doing that. Justin.
Yeah, in particular, but I honestly really don't care if it was a heel turn or not because he's already heel in most people's eyes. But yeah. I did enjoy Reigns finally owning his position, which is honestly what he should do.
That's the thing. You got whatever it is that you're being dealt, own the hell out of it. Don't go out there with the cheesy smile or anything like that. Yeah. Piss the crowd off. Take it to him a little bit. And, on this whole subject of the Roman Reigns thing, there's this stuff coming out about a boycott and, if Roman Reigns comes out and you're watching the show at home, mute the TV or go, do something else, go wash the dishes and take a picture. Or I'm washing the dishes instead of watching Roman Reigns, hashtag boycott Reigns, and then turning your back on Reigns when he's, in the ring. As you can see, that didn't happen on Raw. Because the thing about it is, when it comes to the people who hate Reigns, you can't help yourselves. You need to know what's going on with the dude to further this agenda of hatred that you have against him. So you can't boycott Roman Reigns because, like I said, you need to know what's going on with the dude so you can continue to, talk shit about him and further drive this feeling that you have against him. But speaking of feelings that I have, speaking of feelings that people have against Roman Reigns, what I'm thinking right now, for the first night after he retired the Undertaker, I liked what I saw.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was really good. And again, like owning his position, much like you said, if you know that the crowd is doing something with you, use that and play it to your advantage. And again, it wasn't even like necessarily a heel turn, even though some people would call it. It was more of a tweener role. Tweener in that sense, even though WWE doesn't really present it in that way. And I also don't think he even got the audible to say that he was supposed to be acting this way. I also think that he actually took that on his own. You can see that he's soaking it in because, like at the Hall of Fame, every time that the camera points to him, I did see the smirk.
Because one thing that I can say about Roman, every time, or I'll say many times, you'll see like something that's like burning inside him.
Yeah.
Where it's like when he's going out there and he's doing these things where WWE is trying to force him into that, you know, a certain position, that bastardized babyface syndrome, something seems uncomfortable. But with him on Monday Night Raw, with him talking trash to The Undertaker at WrestleMania, there was a certain level of comfortability there that I think that he could really develop into a damn good character and someone that I can get behind once again if they continue to do these things. And realize at this point we're not getting down into the nitty-gritty of was this the right decision, and you know, should it have been someone else, and why it shouldn't have been Roman, and all of those conversations that have been happening. I'm simply acknowledging the reality of the situation where it's like, okay, we don't have any kind of time machines. We don't have, you know, this isn't the day before WrestleMania or whenever WWE decided to have Roman Reigns win, or you know, when it was decided to have Undertaker retired, or when they were picking his opponent. We're not at any of those points right now. We are at the point where we know Roman Reigns just beat The Undertaker. So what do we do now going from this point? So that's the angle that I'm looking at this. And from what I see, so far, so good. If you want to go ahead and play into that tweener thing, go right ahead.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like we saw the exact same thing the night after WrestleMania last year, and that was when he was the WWE Heavyweight Champion. So it's like, and it didn't take them long. Well, here's the thing. It didn't take them long, but it was like once that suspension happened, it was like the process started like right all over again for Reigns, and I'm hoping they can at least keep a consistent. Keyword, I'm hoping they could keep a consistent basis with this. But yeah, good stuff from Reigns.
From what we've heard over the years, Vince McMahon has a great level of respect and love for The Undertaker. So even if you don't give a shit, well, you have to give somewhat of a shit about Roman Reigns to have him be the person to occupy that spot. But here's what I'm trying to say. Honor The Undertaker by doing right by the person who retired him.
Well, quote unquote for now, retired him.
Yeah, we don't see. It's so weird to just give us one damn answer, just
yes.
solidify it. But yeah, we have other stuff going on Monday Night Raw. We're gonna be jumping all over the place to the big things that happened on this show. One of the big things that you had to discuss, and I didn't have any problem with, because these are my homeboys too. The Revival debuted during a New Day Open challenge, and they ended up they defeated the New Day, right?
Yes, and thank goodness that is what should have happened, and I'm glad it did happen. People, you know my love of tag team wrestling. This is a team that I've been wanting to see finally get a shot at the big time, finally getting a chance to showcase what they're all about. And honestly, when I heard the Revival's music come out, here's the thing, I honestly, and I don't know why I didn't think this, I actually did not expect them to come out. And when I actually heard them coming out, I'm like, oh yeah, shit's about to get real in this tag team division, especially with the Hardy Boys being back, the new Raw Tag Team Champions. So we're definitely in for some good stuff. I will say
this Raw Tag Team division within 24 hours, it has completely transformed. It's not even the same tag division anymore. You add in two teams, this veteran team and the Hardy Boys, and then these newcomers up from NXT, and man, the whole face of the division has completely changed. Which is what I've
wanted. Which you know exactly, this is exactly what I've been wanting for WWE for a while, is to finally actually put importance on the tag team division. Because guys, let's face it, we all know that before the Revival and the Hardy Boys came back, that this tag team division, even I'll say, was just a complete abysmal, and I do hate that. But now that we actually have a veteran team like the Hardy Boys established, already established, and the newcomer, the Revival, now bringing up, I will say though, and I think I mentioned this to you and Dalton, on how I think that these teams definitely feel some type of way, because it's like all their positions that they were are kind of like lessened even more, even though there really wasn't any importance.
Yeah, it's like the Hardy Boys, they automatically jump right to the top, and all of the other teams get pushed down a notch to make room for them.
Yeah, like the Shining Stars and Golden Truth. You can imagine what their level was at to compare to where they're at now. But
they were already in the basement.
Yeah, but really the stuff from the Revival. But what I did kind of find interesting was the fact that, like, I had to keep in my mind, guys, this is not NXT anymore. I've been wanting you guys on the main roster. You want to showcase them? You guys have been putting on these good matches, so I need to see definitely some change. It was a standard tag team match, but it was a serviceable debut for the Revival. Like,
they did some great heel work.
Yeah,
they really did, knocking over the ice cream or the
that was good
cart, and in the ring attacking Kofi Kingston's ankle and the Shatter Machine spot.
Yes,
I love that.
It was like they made the New Day honestly complete chumps. Well, not necessarily complete chumps, but they definitely out-wrestled them.
Yeah, and I've always been nervous about the eventual debut of the Revival and what is to be made of them on the main roster, because we all, especially on Monday Night Raw, because Monday Night Raw, that's the big flashy show. That's the show with the
that matters.
It with all of the hype and the big stars and large personalities. When it comes to the Revival, they have very muted personalities, and that's by design. Their catchphrase is no flips, just fists. And they're not about being flashy or anything like that. They're about getting the job done. And I don't know if that really meshes with the mantra for Monday Night Raw. And that's something I was having a conversation back and forth with someone on Twitter about me saying that I wanted the Revival. Like, it's great to see them on the main roster, but I kind of wanted them to go over to SmackDown, and we were having a conversation back and forth. And that's one of the things that I did not mention, that I just don't think that they fit the mold of Raw, and I don't know if that creative team understands who they are and book them as such.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We've been in a situation like this so many times, and it's like, how long is it going to take until the screw-ups happen? Again, the Revival got a chance to shine. I mean, they beat former WWE, two-time WWE Tag Team Champions in the New Day. So to me, that definitely has to mean something. But let's be real here. I honestly don't think that the main roster creative team really cares about tag teams, because think about it.
Both of the divisions are in the
and that's the one thing I am worried about, because you had two new teams already on Raw. What does that mean for the tag team division on SmackDown? Because right now, those SmackDown tag titles don't mean jack.
Interesting that you bring that up. How doing this on Raw, what does it mean for SmackDown? Taking SmackDown and Raw into account, Vince McMahon made a surprise appearance on Raw tonight. He came out and he announced a quote-unquote superstar shakeup for next week. And I get trade. It has to do something with the trade, but it's just that we don't know what the format is going to be, how everything is going to go down. So I guess that's something to look forward to. And it's cool to see things mixed up, because you get fresh matchups and feuds, and then also it opens up the possibility maybe one brand can handle a certain superstar better than another one can. Because if you look at the way that someone like The Miz broke out after the brand extension with him being on SmackDown, and then you never know what could come of something like that. So and it's funny because Michael Cole was on commentary. He's like, superstar shakeup, whatever that means. I'm like, shit. Again, find out for us, Mr. Journalist.
He's been saying a lot of stuff over the last 24 hours. That's just been ludicrous. And here's the thing. I also think we might get at least a tag team drafted to SmackDown, because you can't just have like two new teams already, especially two big teams like the Revival and the Hardys, just debut on Raw and yet not give
nothing for
SmackDown. So I would actually like to see New Day on SmackDown. At least change it up a bit. Just change it up. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities.
It is kind of interesting, because if you look at New Day, just look at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
They weren't even in the title match at WrestleMania, and they have uprooted themselves from the Raw tag team division, and there's some distance there. So could they have been doing something like that to prepare for a jump to SmackDown? Who knows? But also something that Vince McMahon did on Monday Night Raw, he named a new general manager to the franchise of WWE, and that is Cass's favorite wrestler of all time.
Yes, my favorite, my man. People, like, you have no idea on how it felt good to finally get the Hall of Fame t-shirt, and also finally get to say "you suck" to him at WrestleMania, which is a turn of endearment.
Being happy at chanting "You suck" at your favorite wrestler of all time.
It works in this sense. It's just so good to see him back, especially in a prominent role. I'm trying not to look too far ahead because it's kind of like a situation where
I know what you're talking about here because Stephanie, we saw how she chewed Mick Foley up and spit him out. I mean, we did get some good segments towards the end from that, but it just gets to a point where it's very deflating to watch that on a week-to-week basis, just like beating down the GM. So
you're not going to see that. No, your Angle's definitely not going to take that. Even if it is, I just don't see Angle taking that.
But I mean, she did go through a table at WrestleMania, so maybe she.
Vince
and
McMahon
speaking
trolling.
of that, trolling Vince McMahon, trolling the audience, he's going out there talking about how important they are and how amazing, and something that happened at WrestleMania that broke all of our hearts, and then of course he's talking about his daughter. That was some good stuff from Vince there, but like Stephanie and Kurt, they do have like. A dynamic about them.
Oh yeah, the business relationship of SmackDown 03. How can I forget that?
We got some great stuff from them. Even when Kurt was
the GM.
No, like when he was a wrestler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was some funny stuff between them. So it'll be interesting to see if they pick up off of that.
He even proved it tonight with just a little subtlety segments that he had with interacting with the superstars in the back that he can still play a comedic role as well, and him putting over Sami Zayn, even though in the end he kind of rolled his eyes like, man, get this motherfucker out of my office,
like brown noser,
like get this Uber driver out of my office. Okay. How about when Angle like coming down to him just sweating like profusely?
Yeah. This is his first day back.
So
got to get back into it, but what else do we have on the show? Of course, what closed out the show was a main event match: Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins and a returning Finn Bálor. It was very nice to see Finn Bálor back. And here's what I gotta say though. I think WWE does themselves a disservice when they rush past things like Seth Rollins and Finn Bálor's feud.
Yeah.
Because it's as if the feud between Finn Bálor and Kevin Owens from NXT was more important and more timely than the one between Finn Bálor and Seth Rollins when Finn Bálor was injured in the match that he had with Seth Rollins. And
definitely.
I think that it would have been better for it would have been better for all parties involved for WWE to actually acknowledge that and talk about it. Say that Seth Rollins, he was a jackass in his feud with Finn Bálor, but he had his mea culpa. Like, he realized that, all of the things that he was doing, that it wasn't worth it, and he's a changed man now. Like, I'm not saying that they have to break it down specifically like what I said, but that plays into the character development instead of just saying, oh, well, Seth Rollins was a heel back then, he's a face now, you all get it. No, break it down for us. Establish that narrative, because that is the story of Seth Rollins. He told us with Triple H, all of these things that I was doing, maybe it wasn't worth it. I want my soul back. Tell us that he got his soul back, and tell us that he's a different man now. Like, tell us those things and establish that narrative of the match.
I'm gonna go ahead and tie this into what we saw in the six women's tag real quick, because it was like, of course, Emma, we saw her make a return tonight, and it was like, Dana Brooke, we know that she turned face recently, and then Emma, she's still the heel. But yet, when you had Emma and Dana Brooke, who actually started off the match, it's like they expect us to forget that they were like a duo or like a team when they were both heels like months back, and now you have this too.
That's like different because that was down in NXT.
But they were doing a little bit on the main roster too. Yeah, they were doing it just a little bit. I think it was like right when Dana Brooke actually debuted, and then that's when Emma's injury happened. But
okay.
But yeah, so that just shows that WWE just truly really doesn't care when it comes to like filling in just the little potholes that we see that actually does matter just for a storytelling standpoint. But I'll say this though, yeah, seeing Finn Balor back was definitely good, but it was kind of fun because, and Dalton got a message before he passed out, not really, but it was like he was very calm, very cool and collected, because I actually kind of thought the reaction for him wasn't a bigger pop, or maybe it's just me, and you can tell they were being very protective of him in this match. But I kind of find interesting the fact that aren't they supposed to be trying to protect Seth Rollins too?
Something I noticed about Seth in this match, this dude was just it's like he was doing moves that, you know, where the offense it was being delivered by his knee. I saw that so many times, and it's like, where is that going? Because that has to mean something, right? Either they're trying to tell a story, or he's just fucking crazy. It's one or the other.
He just doesn't care, and he doesn't realize that he needs to change his style up just a little bit, because you're telling me that you have 2 injuries to it was the same knee, right? That you're in.
I don't remember.
It doesn't matter. The fact is, you come out from a major injury like that, and your style doesn't change not one bit. To me, that says something about how you treat yourself as a wrestler. But yeah, Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, they won the match, but at the expense of the newly crowned United States champion Kevin Owens, which I did not like.
It's going to be interesting to see what these guys do in the absence of the top or the Universal Championship. I was about to say top championship, but that remains to be seen. Brock is working though.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman is working on, you know.
We gotta talk about what Brock did.
Okay, yeah, we had Paul Heyman come out there putting in work for Brock Lesnar, talking about how Goldberg has gone away, and, you know, the Beast has slayed the superhero and suplex cities and towns and villages and, you know, all types of, you know, stuff like that. And he mentioned something very interesting. He mentioned the Undertaker's record at WrestleMania. What is it, 23
and 2?
And it's time for those two to go 1-on-1. And of course, we're talking about Brock Lesnar.
Great business tagline, though.
Roman Reigns. And Braun Strowman ends up coming out, and, you know, of course, he has, well, you know, in his mind, unfinished business with...
Shoved him, too.
He has unfinished business with Roman Reigns, so he's like, you know, you got to get in the back of the line, dude, you know. And then he actually challenged Brock and, you know shoved him. Well. And I was like... I literally gasped. I was like, oh.
Shit's about to go down.
And that's a match that I did not think about. But now that they planted that seed, it's grown into this big-ass, beautiful tree. Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar. That'd be something that I'm interested in.
And also, it really would be a fresh matchup, because how often have we seen Brock Lesnar, like, other than Dean, and I don't even think you can count that, like, actually take on superstar that's actually on the current roster? But, well, I mean, one that could actually benefit from the win. So it's going to be interesting to see. However, I will say I didn't like the fact that Braun backed down after doing all that.
Well, see, the thing is, though, like, he did push Brock. He did push him. So, I mean, I guess the ball was in Brock's court to swing first.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, to me, Braun is just so special. And what he's been doing, it's just like the whole backing down, and plus it's always the cheap heel heat go-to thing. And for somebody of the size of Braun, who really shouldn't give a damn, and
like, he should be ready to throw down.
Yeah, and he should want to beat the mother freaking shit out of anybody that steps in his way. I just want them to protect his character just any way possible.
But yeah, we got that, and also that Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar to look forward to.
Which I gotta give Paul Heyman some credit. That was a really good tagline. I think he had to. I guarantee he probably had to do his best not to mess that up, because it's like you get those numbers mixed up. Like I can get topsy-turvy easy.
Okay, what else do we have on the show? We mentioned Emma. It's good to see Evil Emma back. And I like the way that she was positioned in this match. She looked really good, and it's very important to establish early on what you want people to think about Emma, because if they're not familiar with her, or even if they are familiar with her, just to see where she falls on the totem pole, and judging by that match, she's somewhere near the top. Like, they established her in this match as a legitimate contender in the women's division. And I was kind of nervous, because I know she has a talent to occupy that position, but it's like, with the failed Emelina thing and all of the craziness that was there, it's like, okay, who is she going to be when she finally gets back to the main roster and back to, an active competitor? And I liked what I saw tonight. I did.
Yeah, I definitely did. Like, it is, like, we all expected Emma to be in this role when she first came back to begin with, before all the Emelina stuff, because we were all going off. Yes, people, I'm talking about you. We were all going off on how this whole Emelina thing was complete bullshit, and yes, it was. And we were just like, why didn't they just stick with evil Emma to begin with? And that's just another story for another day. The match, here's the thing, Emma looked great, but I actually kind of felt like what was that whole thing with Charlotte and Nia Jackson?
After the match, shoving Nia Jackson, getting laid out.
Yeah, like I don't know what that was about. It honestly looked like, for me, like a way to not write Charlotte off TV, like make her like reassess, because you just like, for all you know, you probably don't have a women's championship match in the future. And here's the thing, with Emma coming back, that also added another person in a prospective division, which is what Raw really needed, which is why I think we are going to get some switch-ups next week, because Raw, let's just face it, they got the jackpot tonight.
They need some babyface women on Raw.
Yeah, they need more of those.
Because it's very clear that they were telling a story of Sasha Banks turning heel, but if you judge by adding Nia Jax to the match, and then this past episode of Raw, and also like last week's episode of Raw, and also WrestleMania, they pulled back on that story of Sasha Banks turning heel, because I guess they finally realized, well, shit, if we turn Sasha Banks heel, who else do you have? You have Bailey is going to be fighting everybody, because I guess the other face is underdog. The other face is Dana Brooke, and
that drop kick that she and I think Sasha tried to do to Nia Jax was just so terrible.
No. So maybe they can reignite that story with Sasha once they shake things up with the superstars. And
speaking of shake things up, like, we really got to talk about this. Like, tonight's Raw really, like, all the months that everybody was pretty much gone, not only did everybody come back, but it's just like every single division was pretty much reset. Like, Finn Bálor now back in the quote-unquote main event scene of Monday Night Raw.
Or every single division changed in some way. I won't necessarily say reset, because, I mean, the women's division, that's not really reset. But.
Well, at least they added some new people in every single division, which is honestly what Raw desperately needed. So I'm hoping, again, I had to mention this, I am worried for SmackDown too, because it's like, right now, Raw has gotten everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see, now that the road to WrestleMania is done, we're now gone, it's going to be interesting to see how SmackDown moves forward moving forward, because they don't even have a pay-per-view for like 7 more weeks.
I'm hoping that Monday Night Raw tonight gives us some kind of indication that they'll step things up for SmackDown, because we all know the Raw After Mania, it's branded now, like that's a thing, Raw After Mania.
Which it shouldn't be.
What about and we see why it shouldn't be, because
that crowd was just so obnoxious. I'm sorry, but
yeah, like beach ball, all that kind of, and that's one of those crowds where it's like they're not gonna go home and talk about the matches or anything like that. They're gonna the best part of the show was when we did this and we did that. It's like
fucking marks.
That's not why I go to shows. I go to shows to watch what's going on in the ring. But
there you go.
Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm cut from a different cloth. But
there you
go. What was I saying about SmackDown? Yeah, hopefully that same type of feeling, that same type of hype from Raw transfers over to SmackDown as well. And well, maybe I don't know, because shit, it's like I have not liked Road to WrestleMania SmackDown, so maybe you should just go back to doing business like SmackDown.
But here's the thing, like I said, now that they're done with that, this does give SmackDown more opportunity to create more natural stories like they used to.
Yeah.
You know me, people, I love SmackDown, but even I'll admit it's been kind of rough patches.
It's been rough.
As of late, now that they're advertising SmackDown as like actually advertised since it's live on Tuesday, since it's like even if it's like one of the big four, I need to see some improvement for SmackDown. I need them to step their game up, like really push the narrative of like these brands do matter and whoever shows up matters.
Right, that's it for our Raw review. Thank you all for tuning in. This is it for like the wrestling content too. At least for the trip. So
and I'm fucking tired.
We'll go back to podcasts soon.
Yeah.
Oh no, you and Dalton will be back next week.
That's when the changes are coming.
We are changing on every level, and we mean it.
Yeah, so you won't be seeing this for a while. So
yeah, what SummerSlam?
Oh man, that's such a longest time, but it'll be a fun moment, people.
Right. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, peace.
Later.